There is going to be another departure from the Obama cabinet. It is now confirmed that Interior Secretary Ken Salazar will step down in March, joining Hillary Clinton, Leon Panetta, Tim Geithner, and Hilda Solis, all heading for the exit. In a statement just released by the White House, the president said, quote, "I want to thank Ken for his hard work and leadership on behalf of the American people. As the Secretary of the Interior, Ken has helped usher in a new era of conservation for our nation's land, water, and wildlife." Meantime, just hours after the president's defense secretary pick, Chuck Hagel, got a boost from Senator Chuck Schumer, another key senator, Republican James Inhofe, announced he has too many philosophical differences with him to support the nomination. Bring in NBC News political analyst and former Pennsylvania Governor Ed Rendell, and Alfonso Aguilar, Executive Director of the Latino Partnership for Conservative Principles and former Chief of the Office of Citizenship. Good to see both of you. Good morning.
Chris, thank you for having us.
So just a few weeks ago, Senator Inhofe praised Chuck Hagel, but Governor, in a statement, he says he has concerns about his positions on Israel, Iran, and the sequester. What do you make of that?
It's hard to fathom anything that goes on in Washington these days, Chris. You have John McCain in 2006 saying Chuck Hagel would make a great Secretary of State, and then he and Lindsey Graham were expressing those same doubts. It's all hypocrisy. I mean, if Barack Obama appointed the greatest woman that ever lived to a position, I think half of the Republican caucus would be against it. But Chuck Hagel's going to pass. Chuck Schumer's declaration was crucial. The only way Chuck Hagel would run into trouble is if there were significant Democratic defections, and I think Chuck Schumer is a leader, and his statement makes it clear that won't happen.
And there is a new poll out, Alfonso, that shows most Americans support Chuck Hagel's nomination. Even though 33% had no opinion, I think for a defense secretary post, that's a pretty high recognition factor. What do you think is going to happen here?
Well, I agree with the governor. Chuck Hagel will be confirmed. He has the relations in the Senate. I think the support from Chuck Schumer was key. But I think at the same time it's fair to raise questions about the comments he's made about Israel, about his positions to sanctions towards Iran, his comments about negotiating with Hamas. Those are very valid questions that Republicans need to ask.
Also, the president still needs to pick his chief of staff, critically important position, as you both know. Here's a couple of the main candidates: Deputy National Security Advisor Dennis McDonough and former Biden Chief of Staff Ron Klain, said to be the top two. What do you think, Governor, that the president's choice will eventually say about, I guess, his management style, but also how he intends to sort of negotiate this second term? There have been a bunch of articles today suggesting it's very tough to do as well in his second term as you do in a first term.
Well, it is, but that can change with the context of the time, the environment the President and the Congress is presented with. And there's so many serious challenges facing the American people. If the President can find a way with his own involvement and then with his staff's bridging the gap between himself and the Republicans in the Congress to get things done on our debt, on guns, on immigration, on the environment, on energy, on education, he can go down as a great second-term president. He's got a great opportunity, but he's got to get personally involved in the process itself, and he's got to understand where the other side is coming from, and he's got to try to accommodate some of their concerns. And if he does that, I think he can be a great second-term president and have a better second term than his first.
We got a lot of indications about what he was thinking about in his last news conference of the first term this week, and he answered critics. He talked about the lack of diversity in his new cabinet, but they're losing another minority, obviously, with the departure of Ken Salazar as Interior Secretary. 3 other secretaries haven't been announced either in terms of what they're doing, whether they're going to stay or go. What do you think, Alfonso? Do you think the president needs to beef up the diversity in this second-term cabinet?
Look, I'm not going to criticize the president on this one. I think he's shown his commitment to diversity. Diversity is very important. But at the end, for the president, the first and foremost consideration in terms of his appointments to the cabinet is appointing people who he thinks are capable, have experience, and he trusts and feels comfortable with. And in many occasions, it's going to be minorities. But I'm judging his commitment to diversity by the by percentages of minorities in his cabinet. I think it's a little bit simplistic.
Alfonso Aguilar, Governor Ed Rendell, good to see you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.